So the final episode of Love is Blind has dropped, and it's time to talk about all the drama and the disaster that has been this season. In this video, it's not only time to find out who got married and who didn't, but also the secrets behind the scenes, like what Marissa really thinks of Ramses 6 months after the show has ended. Got all the secrets and everything you want to know, so settle in and let me know in a comment if you want me to do the reunion. I'm MadMorph, and this is my movie club where I talk about movies and TV, so please like and subscribe for more as we go on that quest to 100k. But now, let's begin. Love is Blind, the finale. We start things off where the last episode ended, with Ramekin Gaslighter and Marissa on the rocks. Ram is just unsure where his head is at. He had some conversations with family last night, and this is Ramses in his cowardly own way trying to break up with Marissa.
I just learned that my ex was hurting much more than I realized after that divorce. Scared that where I end up hurting you. I don't.
First of all, riddle me this, Ramses. How can this entire marriage be derailed by a couple of conversations, but you can't understand how Marissa and other young people could be talked into joining the military? How the turntables.
I just don't think love alone is enough.
One of the grossest parts of this conversation is Ramses talking about how his ex-wife was so affected by the breakup and he's only just realizing that now. First of all, yeah, obviously, Ramses is a terrible boyfriend, and any woman that spends more than a week with him will probably need to talk about it in therapy. And second of all, this is revealing to us that you haven't done the necessary work and healing that you needed to do before coming to this show after your divorce. This might be your biggest red flag yet.
I do think we are great together. I think you bring out good characteristics that I don't usually show, and I think that I bring out good characteristics that you don't necessarily always show.
I will say it's awfully convenient to only find this out and acknowledge the hurt that you did to your ex days before your next wedding. In fact, you might even suppose he's heard this all before, but it never registered with him, or it wasn't the right time for him to take it on board and use this as a convenient excuse.
Is your energy going to be too much for me? And they it's not you, it's me. It's
no, but you are literally saying that.
Marissa, this man is telling you who he is. He has told you and shown you many, many times. Please stop begging this man to stay with you. Here's a real quick tip that should be obvious, but it seems it's not. If a man tells you that he is afraid he's going to hurt you, he's probably going to hurt you. He's at least thinking about it and knows that he's going to behave in some ways that if you find out about them, you're going to be hurt. If a man tells you that you're too good for him, you probably are too good for him, and he thinks less of himself for some kind of reason. Again and again, we say this: if people show you who they are, if they tell you who they are, believe them. Stop seeing the best in people that they don't see in themselves, because in those dark hours of the night when you're not there and they're with someone else, or they're out with their friends, or whatever the situation is, how do you think they're going to act? Like the best parts of them that you see and only you see, or the parts of them that they see themselves and that they think aren't good enough for you?
You told me you fell in love with me because of who I am.
Yeah.
And that's what every guy feels. They love the first couple of months of dating me because it's great. The energy is just so fucking great. I get it. I've heard that before.
Anyway, Marissa can't hear this video because it's in the future of her life and it hasn't happened yet. And also, she just obviously doesn't watch my videos to get this great advice. She should have liked and subscribed, like you're going to right now if you haven't already. And that's the tragedy of Marissa. Not that she doesn't enjoy these videos, but that she says she was 100% herself, and now she's going to feel like she's not enough, and she's heard the same thing from so many guys before.
I just want someone to be sure about me. I just want someone to choose me, right?
Isn't that just crushing? And I bet oh so relatable. Ramses made her feel like she could be her authentic self, and then he rejected that authentic self. He has both made her feel like too much and also not enough. Somehow not worthy. This one's going to sit with Marissa for a while, I fear.
It's literally insane.
There's nothing left to be said then.
She keeps asking, are you sure? Are you sure? It's such a painful breakup, and you know that Ramses is completely checked out. The man can't even squeeze a tear out.
Are you sure?
This already fucking hurts me so much.
I became unsure.
He looks pretty unemotional. The bit where he tries to pretend like he's about to cry and then 2 seconds later he's fine. I get that it's an edit, but Ramses, we can see that you're not anywhere near as upset as Marissa, dude.
I think you're making a mistake. I think this is a big mistake.
And the truth is, while Marissa may have been herself, I don't think Ramses was 100% himself at all. I actually don't think he knows who he is. I'm going to be brutally real. I think Ramses knew for a while that he was not going to marry Marissa. He was just trying to get all that he could out of this experience and the show and the girl before things ended. His insistence on bedtime being his way or the highway, the importance that he placed on it.
Do you enjoy condom sex?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he knew the clock was ticking, and maybe the bedtime was good, and he wanted more of it before it had to end. The way he seemed more concerned with coming across as progressive for the cameras and not caring about bonding or listening to his wife and being there for her, he knew this was never going to make it to the finish line. Let's be real.
Wholeheartedly, and I can't convince you otherwise. Like, I don't know, but I just know this is not right. Like,
And to be honest, if Ramses was with anyone else in this process and not with Marissa, I don't think it would have even made it this far. Her positivity and her belief in their ability to make it kind of dragged him along kicking and screaming up to this point. I guess we've all been in friendships and relationships that go on for far too long. Sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, and then when you get out on the other end of them, you go, Jesus, why did I waste all of that time? Like, that is just one of those things that happens in life. When you're in it, you can't see it. And the people on the outside, especially us watching an edit, can very easily go, this is terrible, stop. But they're in it, feeling emotions, feeling chemistry. You've been there, you know what it's like. You stuck with that person for far too long. I'm calling you out, you specifically. Anyway, the last dagger in our hearts is Marissa leaving the room sobbing and calling her mum.
I feel insane. I feel crazy because I feel like, did I make it all up in my head?
Are you okay?
No, we called off the wedding. I love him so much. Oh my God, Mom.
You know, it's that real deep hurt when someone calls a parent. It's that inner child kind of pain. She'll take this one to therapy. I'm sure Ramses thinks he's done the noble thing. You were scared of hurting her if you got married, right? So you just put things to bed before it could go too far. But do you see how this woman is crying? My man, you already inflicted the wound and did the hurt. And like Marissa said, you should have never come on this show. Maybe consider this your second divorce and go and work on yourself before you hurt anyone else. And I would love to say that having this show aired means that maybe women are going to give Ramses a wide berth in the future and he'll get that time to work on himself. But if I know the internet, this man's DMs are going to be full this time next week. Anyway, fuck this clown. I said all I need to say about him in my last two videos, and the simple fact is his heart was never in it. All I can hope is that Marissa comes back at the reunion and that she's reached that point of enlightenment, got to the summit of the mountain of grief of just where you get to be like, oh my God, I was an idiot. That was a terrible relationship and I'm so happy I'm out of it. Let's hope she's got to that point by the reunion. In fact, let's see how she's doing right now. Marissa just did an interview with Glamour where she goes into more details about some of the things that happened this season, saying, I have an autoimmune disease. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I tend to get sick. My body hurts and I don't want to be touched. There's been a few times before that where he's petting me and I'm overstimulated. I have ADHD. I get overstimulated physically and I'm like, touch me, just don't rub me. I get really sensitive about my autoimmune disease and I'm like, is he not going to want to be with me if I'm chronically ill? She also revealed that they had talked about this in the pods. She said, I told him I'm chronically ill and it's something I'm sensitive about and it makes me feel like someone's not going to want to be with me. We had a great conversation and he said, how can I show up for you? How can I help you in these moments? And I said, yeah, being understanding that sometimes I'm not going to be able to perform at 100%. She then said, it's not like he was pressuring me to have bed times with him, but I was so mad because it's just the least of our worries. I was like, we go to bed every day, multiple times. I don't know why we're bringing this up right now. The interviewer said it feels like he was kind of fixated on bedroom times, and Marissa said, yeah, he was. As for how that breakup even started, because of course we were just dropped into the scene in Love is Blind fashion, the interviewer asked, and Marissa said, 2 days before he talked to a close family friend who used to be close to his ex-wife. I come home from school one night and he's upset and emotional about his ex-wife, crying, and I'm like, what's going on, baby? And he's like, I didn't realize how much I hurt my ex-wife. I remember looking at him and thinking, this is somehow going to fuck us up. She then talks about how he treated her the next day, saying he's in a different mood, not this chatty, lovey guy. He's not talking to me and I'm starting to feel ignored. I started to feel like something's off. He calls a friend and the way he described me to this friend, I was like, do you even like me? And then the real kicker, which is, Marissa, I would have taken this to the grave, but she said that night she dressed up in lingerie and cleaned the house in her lingerie to see if he would notice. He doesn't notice for over an hour. We go to bed and we don't even kiss goodnight. And honestly, I thought her begging him to stay during the breakup was the worst of it, but that might be the worst part. And Marissa also revealed that she offered to call off the wedding but continue to date each other and just get away from the show and take things really slowly, be long distance together, and he still said no. Which is interesting, but it says that it's left Marissa wondering what she ever did wrong, because he would say one thing about it being too much and too soon. She would offer for them to just keep dating, and then he said no, so she doesn't know where she's at. And this line was very telling from her. I just think he's flawed and has a lot of stuff he needs to work through, and he refuses to go to therapy. They continued to see each other a little bit after the show ended, and it took Marissa about 6 months to get over the breakup. They spent one day talking for 8.5 hours, and that made her think they might get back together. And she even admits, look, I asked him to get back together. I'm not ashamed to say that. And he said, nah. So after that, I stopped communicating. It's worth noting that she also said he's not this horrible person people think he is, he just has a lot of stuff he needs to work on. And while I do agree with that sentiment with all people on reality TV, in this case, I don't really trust Marissa's judgment.
Literally insane.
I really think this breakup speaks to the difference between men and women when it comes to breakups. Women will stay in a relationship and slowly detach. When a woman breaks up with you, she broke up with you in her head and her heart 3 to 6 months ago. She's already over you by the time she tells you about it. When a man is the one to leave, more often than not, they've continued in their role, saying the right thing, saying, I'm fine, because that's what a lot of men do. It's just we say, I'm fine, everything's fine, don't worry about it. And then we go.
2 days ago, he told me that he's so excited to get married, and we picked out our first dance song. And I didn't see it coming. It's the worst heartbreak I've ever experienced.
Well, into the next part of the show, it's time for the weddings. We've got Tyler and Ashley and Garrett and Taylor about to get married. Will they say I do? Will they say F you? We're about to find out. The boys have a stag night and it's go to a basketball game. Great, that's like, who's ever done that for a stag night? Boring. The women have a sleepover. The stag and the hen are always so boring on this show, and honestly, at least there was some gender equality this time, because for a long time on this show, they send the men to the most boring, tame evening. They usually just go for drinks in a bar somewhere, whilst the women actually have like a sort of bit more of a raucous night, be it with some burlesque or some sort of male people with clothes coming off. I have to word things this way for the YouTube filter, you understand. And I've always thought that's unfair, you know, like for one is allowed to ogle and the other isn't. But at least this time there was no ogling, just a sleepover and a basketball game. Yawn. So it's Tyler and Ashley's wedding and her dad gets emotional.
I love you and I'll shoot.
We love an emotional dad on reality TV. It's great to see. And then Tyler gets emotional when he's reading his vows. I feel like this is so genuine. Even Tyler's friends before this kept saying, we never seen you like this, man. You know, you used to be gangster and saying like F love. And now look at him. He can barely get his words out up there, just saying how much he loves her. Nice. So the only real juicy drama that this couple have is this whole behind the scenes thing of Tyler having kids and him on the show saying he has nothing to do with them, and apparently this person has come out and said yes he does, and it's this whole thing online. Now here's the thing, me personally, I'm not too interested in digging into that dirt that people always love to come up and throw when someone appears on one of these shows. Not to sound too much like Steven here, but there are a lot of people who come out of the woodwork when people appear on reality TV with like confessions and like, I dated this person and it was like this, or this person XYZ, and it's gross. It's disgusting. Just like, this is not an opportunity for you to air your dirty laundry, and I'm certainly not going to be one to rummage through it. So all I'll do for now is share that Tyler said, I don't owe anyone in this world an explanation. But I'll give you one. The conversation was longer than what was shown, and a lot of off-camera conversations were had, implying that he may have filled Ashley in on some of the finer details of the arrangement. And Ashley, a matter of days ago, has come out in support of Tyler saying, do you know him personally to spread such slander about my castmate? Regardless of the choice I make, I'll do whatever is best for me the same way I assume you live your life. Food for thought before I go. Beware of social media and the alleged unauthenticated proof you speak of. I pray you'll attempt to lead with kindness moving forward. At the end of the day, private business is private business, and if it's not on the show or in an interview of someone from the show, so like if it comes up at the reunion, we can talk about it, but it's not something I really want to dig into just from videos that people posted on social media. There's children involved in this, like he's their father whether he's involved in it or not, and that's like some real murky waters to be trudging around in and like drama baiting with. This isn't a drama channel, this is a TV and movie channel. I'm here for the reality TV dramas and not the real life dramas. I probably would have given Ramses the same grace if his ex-wife had popped up with a tell-all. It's just none of my business if it's not on the show. But especially with children involved, that is drama I'm staying away from unless it comes up on the reunion and it's him either defending or admitting his position.
I have a little hydrogen tattoo on my wrist.
Cool, I've got a quantum equation on my back of my right arm.
No way.
At Taylor and Garrett's wedding, the preamble to this has Taylor's dad helping Garrett with his bow tie and almost having a breakdown.
Taylor was with me when my brother died. I had 8 groomsmen, I have 4 left.
It's probably not the pep talk that Garrett wanted, but it's true. I often think about how our worst days are ahead of us, and the older we get, the more frequent they rear their head. That's life. Having a partner that will be there through those moments is a defining factor for love in later life.
For 2 weeks, she was there with me. It will happen. There's no doubt about it. One of my good buddies passed away last month. We have to be there for our friends and our families. Not always gonna be fun and games. You know, there'll be some tough times.
Yeah.
Her dad is 100% right, and for me, it's a reminder to always enjoy the good days and the boring ones, because worse ones are rarely far away. And that's part of why I love watching reality TV. We get to talk about things like that. People who dismiss reality TV are missing out somewhat, unless you're subscribed to this channel, of course. It's not junk to me, it's an anthropological study. And on that incredibly nerdy note, let's move to these 2 nerds getting married. Garrett's mum so wants him to say no.
It's an important decision. One of the biggest ones you'll ever make. It's a shock for everybody. Imagine that you would make such a decision and so fast.
Quickly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's brilliant and she's very logical and considerate. And
What the hell's she doing with you then?
Like, you can't tell me that none of this is like a last minute of play of like, son, why are you doing this?
Aren't typically a very spontaneous. This seems spontaneous.
Can I be super judgmental for a second, he said after being judgmental for 17 minutes straight. I feel like I'm starting to understand why Garrett said he'd have no problem changing his life up and moving away to be with Taylor. The wedding was cute, their vows made me emotional, I think they're a cute couple, and I think I'm getting old and or soft because weddings make me cry. I even cry at the Married at First Sight weddings, like what is wrong with me? I watched The Wild Robot the other night and I just cried through the entire film. From about 10 minutes into it, I just had tears in my eyes until the credits rolled and maybe like ugly sobbed 3 or 4 times. I don't know what's wrong. Anyway, of course, Taylor has a folder for her vows and stands there like a professor to deliver them. This wedding was fine, but there was really no drama to speak of. The end of this season is devoid of anything because there's only 2 couples left. Other than us talking about Marissa and Ramses, there really isn't much to chop up. And that is the end of Love is Blind for this season, at least until the reunion next week, so let me know in a comment if you'd like to see me do that. This season was a disaster, but honestly in the best way. I haven't found Love is Blind interesting for a few seasons now, and this one at least was fun to talk about. Go ahead and recommend some other shows you want to see me do in the comments below, and of course like and subscribe for more. You can find more of me in the description, and check out these videos on the screen to watch something else with me right now. Until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and good night.